Tell us, were you surprised by this bailout from the Hong Kong government for Cathay? And do you think that it was the right approach?
Ladies, thanks for having me on. Given what's going on in the world, I don't think anyone is surprised by the recapitalization of Cathay Pacific. And given the national and economic implications of the flag carrier, I don't think anyone's surprised that the Hong Kong government has come in to essentially backstop the airlines.
Is $5 billion sufficient, Justin? How long does that tie them over, or will they have to recapitalize again?
Well, if you look at the cash burn rate of about $400 million US a month, this probably ties them over for another, say, 10 to 12 months. Given that most economies around the world... Sorry, go ahead.
This is just one move in the midst of several moves that Cathay needs to make to survive. I mean, in terms of strategic decisions on, fleet and so on and so forth. What do you see Cathay doing?
Well, they are obviously trying to cope with the pandemic right now. I think they're going to slowly move to the adaptation stage. And at some point, they would have to reimagine the future of their business. That could mean changing their business models in terms of the planes that they are utilizing, their routes, and maybe shifting more of their passenger planes and moving more into the cargo space.
How much clarity is there in terms of Cathay's survival? We talked about how the recapitalization will see Cathay through 1 to 2 years. But when you take a look at what IATA has been saying, it doesn't see a recovery in the aviation sector till maybe 2025.
So I think between 2025, well, I think most people are a little bit too optimistic and too pessimistic. I think the reality is that we will be somewhere in between. Some airlines have already started resuming flights. These are in China, Vietnam. So I think if we do not see any outbreak of the virus similar to what we see on the cruise ship, I think people will start to be more confident about air travel, and that should help Cathay Pacific's cause.
Justin, what about the political implications of this rescue plan? Some analysts are now saying that the government, now that they're a shareholder, you add that with the nearly 30% stake that Air China has, that this would raise concerns about Beijing's potentially political interference into the company and state control. How big of a risk is that?
Well, Air China has had a 30%, well, slightly below 30% stake for the longest time. After the rights issue, they will be slightly diluted down to 28.17%. I mean, it's given the recent Chinese security law. I know this is a hot topic at the moment, but the structure of the transaction shows that the management and the Hong Kong government involved are well aware of this situation. That's why a merger between Air China and Cathay Pacific did not happen this time.
So, net, do you think that this announcement is bullish for the stock, or what is your long-term outlook for now?
I don't think anyone can say for certain what's the long-term outlook for any airlines, for that matter. Certainly, we saw Cathay Pacific appreciating strongly this morning. I think that was due to short covering of the stock. I think a lot of things need to happen before one can say that the outlook is clear for airlines in general. Clearly, if there's a vaccine for the coronavirus, that helps. Another headwind for Cathay Pacific would be the Hong Kong protests. And also, I think the most important thing would be consumer confidence in getting back on board aircraft. So these are all the headwinds.
Justin, with the recapitalization...
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, Justin, with the recapitalization, Cathay Pacific will see 2 professionals on its board of directors. Will anything change fundamentally?
No, I mean, these will be 2 observers. They do not have any voting rights, but they would have some say in how the company is managed going forward. And you also see that the Hong Kong government has also are entitled to subscribe to warrants. So that gives them some upside in the company going ahead.